It's a place where they're talking a lot about music and technology, so it makes a lot of sense for Spotify to be there. And he's a fascinating guy. He's somebody who was playing guitar and tooling around with computers before the age of 6 and really came out of nowhere to build this service that is being used around the globe now. It's a good product for a lot of people, but also he was savvy enough to know they had to have deals with the labels early on. Of course, the paid subscriber numbers are what everybody's talking about. They now have 6 million paid subscribers. It's 1 million more than they had at Christmas. And when I asked him, does that mean at that rate you could have 10 million paid subscribers by the end of the year? He said, we're certainly hoping so. But Apple and Google and a lot of players are interested in the streaming business. He doesn't think that it makes sense for the big guys to necessarily be competing directly with Spotify. And on Apple specifically, here's what he said.
When I think about Apple, I think the hidden sauce for them is they try to create the best devices to consume content on. But what I think the reality is, the best thing they've ever done is the apps. Because what the apps open up is that they no longer have to focus on controlling the entire experience around content. They can outsource that to app developers like Spotify, Netflix, MLB, and others to create the best content experiences for their sort of core consumer group.
And when I asked him if any of the big tech companies like an Apple might buy Spotify, he said that's not exactly what we're going for right now. Betty?
Jon, Spotify is also competing directly with Pandora these days. So what did Eck have to say about the growth of internet radio?
Yeah, and just to clarify, so Spotify started doing what Pandora is doing here in the U.S. last year. Bloomberg just reported they're thinking about broadening that around the world. Daniel Eck certainly didn't deny that in our conversation. He did highlight the differences between what Pandora is doing and what Spotify is trying to do. Here's what he had to say.
We love the Pandora service. We think it's a great service, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to give people the option of being slightly more lean back, but also introducing them more to the sort of Spotify core story. We know what people care about, being able to listen to the entire Mumford & Sons record from start to finish, and that's what we're about, where Pandora is about sort of putting on a great radio station.
In other words, what Spotify is trying to do is use its internet radio service as a net to get more people potentially to use the streaming service. Betty?